welcome to the Always About People show. I'm Beamer Barnes, and this go around, we are going to be talking about change management in five little mini conversations. So, what is change management? Ultimately, it is how your organization manages change. And let's face it, change is inevitable, it's happening all the time, and there's really nothing that we can do about it. We go to sleep, we wake up, different day, new things going on. We go to our organization or go to our work, and we don't always know what we're going to expect because there's a level of uncertainty, ambiguity that is required to work and really, dare I say, just live. And so, what I want to talk about today is that there are four systems within an organization that coexist, and there's really nothing that any of us can do about it. If we look at an organization as if it is a organism, a living being, kind of like a body, there's going to be systems in this body that function all together, and you can't take them out or make them separate. They all just coexist. An organization is no different. So, for these four systems, we have our cultural system, our strategic system, our technical system, and our political system. So, let me break this down. What is the cultural system? I feel like this is probably one of the more obvious ones because we talk about it all the time. But at Always About People, we define culture as the behaviors and patterns encouraged or discouraged by people, processes, and systems over time. So, what does that mean? Culture just is. It's whatever is tolerated and whatever might be happening. So, an obvious thing that we can talk about is that, like, casual dress or remote work. Since these systems impact each other, this would also impact our strategy. This would be the ongoing planning, monitoring, analysis, and assessments of all of the necessities of an organization to meet the needs of its goals and objectives. This is ever changing because markets are ever changing. So, if you are now having to deploy a remote workforce, that shifts your strategy. An example of this could be you traveled for work to meet clients, but since clients don't want to be in person anymore, the strategy on how you keep that relationship will require something new, AKA change. We're going to land really in our technical and our political system through this because our technical system is our processes and systems. It's the how things get done, and who sits in this bucket the most are individual contributors. Most of us are individual contributors. This basically means that we have a technical skill that we're able to contribute to our organization. I love analogies and I love stories. So let's look at this from the lens of an admin. We all have someone within our organization, and most of the time it tends to be admins that have been at the org for an extensive amount of time. And you hear people say, I don't know what we would do without them. We would not be able to function. They know everything. The source of the power of the individual contributor is their technical competence. With this, we also know too, dare I say it, we individual contributors can have a more like cynical viewpoint to the authority and to our managers, which takes us into our fourth system, political. We all know it, we've all felt it, the office politics. It's often a bunch of unspoken things that just coexist and just is what it is. An example could be we have Joe Schmo, who is a general manager and says really bad, cringeworthy jokes, yet everyone knows to laugh because if you don't, he'll just keep going. And also, you're at risk of your budget not being approved for next year. So, in this political system, our managers really live here and are the contributors to this. Note that I'm saying managers, not leaders, because managers, if we can think of it through this lens, have decision making power on the lives of others and the trajectory or lack thereof for their career. So, depending on the org, this doesn't necessarily mean that it's a team lead. It is people that have decision making authority on the trajectory of other people. Oftentimes, managers are selected because they can manage this political landscape well. Politics being the relationships, knowing when to bow out, who to befriend, what needs to happen. They're good at their job because they're able to build relationships within the company. So, whenever we consider these four systems bleeding together of our culture, our strategy, our technical, and our political, we're able to see that we have a full organizational system. Make sense? So, whenever we are considering change management as a whole, we have to consider through the lens of these different systems. Are we needing to change our strategy? Are we needing to change our roles and responsibilities? Are we needing to let people go because of where our revenue currently is? What is it? Oftentimes, companies do not struggle from a lack of strategy. We struggle from a lack of execution. Let me tie this together. The lack of execution often happens because some of these systems are misfiring and not working together. So, whenever we focus on change management, I want to empower us to think through it through four different lenses, which we will be sharing over the next 4 weeks. I want to give you practical steps on how you can participate in change because remember, change requires risk. It's uncomfortable, but in order for us to be better as individuals or at least like live a healthier lifestyle, oftentimes we engage in some form of change. If we were left to our own vices, I'm sure all of us would just be eating donuts and watching Netflix all day. Or at least that's what I would be doing. But because we want to contribute, because we want our talents to be shared, there's going to be a level of change that we are actively engaging in at all times. So, join me as we talk through the next 4 weeks on how change management can impact not just your organization, but you. The role that you have, the seat that you sit in, the technical competence that you might have, the relationships that you're building. Let's talk about it. Join me. It's going to be a great 4 weeks, and I will see you then.